Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position on a cushion or towel, block, something that will allow the back of your neck and your spine to create this nice, long, straight thing. Opening your chest, opening your heart, opening your diaphragm. If you would gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale, and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the law of attraction. The law of attraction works on the basis that where focus goes, energy flows. I'll repeat that. Where focus goes, energy flows. It's a philosophy suggesting that positive thoughts bring positive results, while negative thoughts bring negative outcomes. And you can substitute the word actions for thoughts. Just that vibes thing, you can substitute quite a few words there. And there are a couple of principles to the law of attraction. First one being like attracts like what we just mentioned. I have a friend whose quote I'm going to use. She says it quite often. It's really ingrained in how she lives her life. She says, what you give attention to grows. So giving attention to positive things grows positive results. Giving attention to negative things, well, again, like attracts like. The second principle of the law of attraction is nature abhors a vacuum. By removing negative things from your life, you make space for more positive things. So think about perhaps releasing what no longer serves you, and you can make space for things that do serve you. And the last principle I'll talk about is the present is always perfect. So focusing your energy on finding ways to make the present moment the best it can be, whether it be through gratitude or kindness to yourself, kindness to others. The present moment is always perfect. So for this morning's pranayama, our breathing technique, I thought, thinking about, attraction, bringing in. So I thought we could do the Vishama-Vritti, which is a spin-off of the Sama-Vritti, which is equal length breath technique. This one, the Vishama, is lengthening the inhale. So you're inhaling, attracting more life and vitality into your body. So to do that, let's just start off with the Sama-Vritti. I'll count using 4, and then I'm going to switch after a couple to count 6 on the inhale and 4 on the exhale. So that just kind of increasing your inhale. So let's start, relax everything and inhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well done. And for this morning's meditation, there's a mudra that translates to the fulfillment of desires. It's called the Kubera Mudra. And to do it, you would make a fist with your fingers and then extend your index and your middle finger and bring those to the thumb. So your ring finger and your pinky still stay in your palm, but your index and your middle finger are attached to the tops of your thumb. So that Kubera Mudra brings awareness to what you want. It brings awareness to what you want and brings awareness to what you want to attract in your life, your desires and your wishes. Sorry about that. So it brings awareness to what you want to attract in your life, your desires and your wishes. And using this mudra and affirmations is a powerful tool to employ that law of attraction. So, for example, I'm going to give you an affirmation here, and we'll just spend a few minutes in meditation. You can focus on that affirmation using your mudra, or just relax and do your own style of meditation. So the affirmation is, I wake up each morning with a grateful heart and an open mind. I wake up each morning with a grateful heart and an open mind. So that law of attraction will help you to achieve that. So let's just take a few moments to meditate. You may open your eyes now. We'll begin our asana practice. A nice, comfortable seated position. Again, with your spine, back of your neck, sitting nice and tall. We're going to open with a few shoulder shrugs. We're going to be actually doing quite a few planks today. So let's just kind of loosen up our shoulder area and just kind of relax everything up there. And you can reverse the shrug. Just kind of loosen everything up. Just kind of focus too on that relaxation part so that when we get to the planks, you can try to employ that relaxation in your shoulders instead of the tenseness. Okay, and then we'll do a few of our sun breaths with some chest openers. So bringing your fingertips to the side, just lifting your fingers up on the inhale. And then palms come together overhead and palms come to heart center on the exhale. Inhale, opening up your hands, opening up your chest, opening up your heart. And then on the exhale, closing it back together. Inhale, up goes the hands up overhead. And exhale, coming back down. And you can go at your own pace, maybe increasing the inhale to a little bit longer. So your inhales would be nice and slow and long, and then exhale, doing a few counts shorter. And inhale again more slowly to increase that inhale. And then exhale, closing the hands in front of you. Inhale, slowly bringing your hands back up overhead. And then exhale, coming down. Do that a couple more times. Inhale up. And exhale, hands together to heart center. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Not open, up. And exhale down. And one last time. Inhale slowly up. Exhale down. Inhale slowly open. Exhale close. Inhale up. And exhale, bringing your fingers back down. And if you would, if you have your legs crossed, uncross them, just set one leg in front of the other. I have my right foot in front of my left foot, both kind of flat. And we're going to do a seated forward fold. So just kind of walk our hands out, pivoting at the waist, and come down to the point where you find that sweet spot, that spot that's between effort and relaxation. And then checking in with your breath, make sure it's flowing nice and smoothly. And once you reach that sweet spot, just let gravity kind of take over and lower you toward the mat, toward the floor. And then we'll walk our hands back, lifting at our waist, come back up to a seated position. And we'll lift our right leg up, knees pointing up to the sky. Wrap left arm around the knee, sending the right fingertips behind your hips. Gazing to the right side. Such a beautiful day out today. I can see the sky and there aren't any clouds. Well, no, okay. Out this window, there aren't any clouds. Out the front window, there's a few clouds, but they're the nice white puffy cumulus clouds. And then coming back, center, switch legs. I have the left leg in front of the right leg. Again, I'm gonna pivot at the waist and walk my hands slowly out, just being mindful of my breath and finding that sweet spot where my breath can stay nice and soft and flowing. And then I'll just let gravity take me down to the earth. And then walk our hands back. Coming to an upright position, lift our left leg up, so left knee's pointing to the sky. Wrapping the right arm around left knee, left fingertips behind your hips. Twisting and sending your gaze to the right, and to the left rather. No windows on this side, I just have a door that leads to the basement. And then twist back to center. We'll come up on our hands and knees to tabletop. With our wrist right below our shoulders, knees right below our hips. Navel tucked to the spine, creating a nice flat back. Fingers are spread apart. Just kind of check in with how your weight's distributed in your hands. Try to make it an equal, even distribution. Pushing down gently in your hands so you create that space between your shoulders and your ears. And then we'll just gently, with a nice flow, turn our head to the right. And then flow it back to center and flow it over to the left side. Just nice, gentle movements. And then back to center. Flow it over to the right. And back to center, flowing it over to the left. And then back to center. And one last time to the right. And back to center and gently to the left. And back to center. And we'll do a few cat-cows. So we're going to round our back on the exhale, dropping our head and tailbone down. Really stretching out that spine. And then lifting our head and tailbone up, sending our gaze straight ahead for the cow. Exhale, rounding our back, sending our head and tailbone down. Inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up, sending our gaze forward. And then just keep doing that, synchronizing your breath to the movement. Going at your own pace. And come back to tabletop. And we're going to do a few bird dogs here. So bring your knees so they're together underneath your hips. Your knees are touching. Again, check in with your hands. Make sure your weight's evenly distributed in each. And then we'll send the right leg up, pointing the toes to the back of the mat. And then send the left arm up so that it's alongside of your ear, pointing the fingers to the top of the mat. And then we'll inhale with a point of the toes, exhale, flexing the foot. Inhale, point, exhale, flex. Inhale, point, exhale, flex. Inhale, point, exhale, flex. Inhale, point, exhale, flex. Inhale, point, exhale, flex, and bring both the knee and the hand back down. Check in with your alignment. We'll do that on the other side. And with the weight evenly distributed in your hands, lift your left leg up, pointing the toes to the back of the mat. Then lift your right arm up alongside your ear. Inhale, point your toes. Exhale, flex your toes. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. 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 And bring everything back down. So mat back to tabletop. And then in tabletop, cross your legs over one another. Your knees are still on the mat and your legs are crossed over one another. And then kind of walk your hands back to the point where you're sitting down. And then I'm going to scooch forward. So we're going to roll down onto the mat. So you can use whichever way you'd like to roll down, knees bent, knees straight, slowly lowering, or you can do the express method. I think I'm going to use my knees bent. So I'm going to slowly lower, connecting one vertebrae at a time with the mat. Really feeling that strength in my core. And then I'll bring my knees up, give them a nice hug. That's always a great part of rolling down on your back. That nice, this is the way I love to start any yoga session I have in this position. Just kind of giving a nice hug, stretching out my spine. Then I'll put both feet back down on the mat. Knees are pointing up to the sky. And we're going to put our hands behind our head. You can interlace your fingers or not, whatever's comfortable. Create a nice, just soft pillow for your head with your elbows pointing out to each side. And then we're going to lift the right leg all the way up to the sky. You can point your toes once it reaches there. And then keeping your elbows out to each side, lift your chin and your chest up toward your knee. So you feel that again in your core. A lot of core work today. And then lower your head back down to the mat. And then lower your foot back down. You can do that slowly. Back down to the mat. We'll do this a couple more times. So again, pointing your toes, lifting your foot all the way up so your toes are pointing to the sky. Once you reach that spot, you can keep your elbows out to each side, lifting with your chin and your chest up toward your leg. And then back down with your head, and then lowering your foot back down to the mat. And one last time. Raise your foot up toward the sky. And then with your elbows pointing to each side, lift your chin and chest up toward your knee, toward your leg. and then back down again with your head. And then as you lower your leg, you can lower it onto your left leg. So we're going to go into reclined pigeon here. So your right ankle is sitting on your left leg, just below the knee or above the knee. I guess it would be above the knee on the thigh section. And you take your right knee, pointing it over to the right. Your hands are still interlaced behind your head, giving your head a nice little pillow here. So you can stay here in this reclined pigeon pose. Or if you'd like a little bit more stretch, you can lift your left leg up, pointing both toes toward the sky. And then if you like even more, you can bring that left knee towards you while you're pushing with your right ankle in the opposite direction. Just take here a few minutes here, not minutes, but moments here to breathe. And then we'll put the left foot on the mat again, if it's not already there. And then slide that left foot all the way down to the bottom of the mat, keeping the right ankle on the left leg. And then we're going to pivot that right knee 180 degrees. So it goes over, all the way over to the left side. And then you can remove your left hand and help guide that to the left side of the mat, keeping your right hand underneath your head. The recline twist. And then we'll come back, knees to chest, give them a nice hug with your hands interlaced right above the, or right below the knees. Kind of work that out a little bit. And then placing the feet back on the mat, we'll do that on the other side. So feet go back on the mat, hands behind your head. We'll lift the left leg up to the sky, toes are pointing toward the sky. And then with your elbows out straight, you're gonna lift with your chin and your chest up toward your leg. And then lower your head back down to the mat, and then lower the leg back down to the mat. And then gently lift your foot and leg back up, pointing your toes back up to the sky. Elbows are straight out, and you lift with your chin and your chest up toward your leg. And then lower your head back down to the mat, and then lower your foot back down to the mat. And one last time, lifting your foot up to the sky, pointing towards some clouds, and then lifting your chin and your chest up toward your leg. And then lowering your head back down to the mat, and then lowering your foot back down to the mat. And then bring both knees back to your chest, give them a nice hug. And we're going to come up to a seated position. You can do that by either bringing your legs to the side and coming upright, or if you like to rock and roll, you can tuck your hands underneath your knees and just kind of rock and roll on your mat till you come up to a seated position. And once we're in the seated position, we're going to do that sit to stand technique. So I'm going to bring my right foot, or rather my left foot, in front of my right leg. So I want whatever foot is pointing, whatever top foot is pointing the one on the outer edge, is pointing that direction. That's the direction you're going to want to go in. So I have my left foot pointing this direction. I'm going to put my hands down in that direction, bring my left foot to the mat, and come up. It's like what we did last week, where we will get our squats in. But I love that technique of getting up from a seated position. It's just so easy. So here we are in mountain pose. Our toes are pointing to the long edge of the mat. And we'll just lift our toes up off the mat, spreading the toes apart as far as we can, and then bringing them back down to the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat, and then bringing our heels back down, really connecting with the mat, connecting with our floor, connecting with the earth below, just feeling that stability, that support of the earth. And then our knees are, our legs are nice and straight and strong, gentle bend in our knees, navel's tucked to our spine, shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Spine is nice and straight and tall for the back of our neck. Chin is slightly tucked in, helping to create that nice long line of our back of our neck and spine. Crown of our head is reaching up toward the sky. And then we'll sweep our hands up overhead with a big inhale. And then exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go to support our lower back. And just check in here for a moment. Finding positive things maybe to attract more positive things to your day. And then lifting our hands to our shins, flattening out our back, sending our gaze straight down so the spine and the back of the neck could create a nice straight line again. And then dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat. And again, just let gravity take over here for a moment. Then we'll sweep our hands all the way up overhead. We'll come up onto our tippy toes as our hands come together up overhead. And then exhale, lowering our hands, lowering our heels back down to the mat. We'll do a few more of those. So sweeping our hands up overhead, coming up onto our tippy toes. And then lowering our hands as we slowly lower our heels back down to the mat. And one last time, lifting our hands all the way up overhead. Up on our tippy toes, as high up as we can get, maybe stretching our hands up to the sky. And then slowly lowering our hands and lowering our heels back down to the mat. And then bringing our hands all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhaling, bringing them to our shins, nice flat back. Exhale, sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead again. Big inhale. Palms come together. And we'll do a few supported side stretches. So we'll bring our right hand down to our right thigh, sliding it down toward our right knee, tipping our torso over to the right. And then inhale, come back up again. And we'll do that on the left side. Left hand comes to left thigh. Left hand slides down toward the left knee, tipping our torso to the left. And then back up again. One more time each side. Right hand comes down, sliding it down toward our knee, and then back up again. And left hand comes down, sliding it toward our knee. And then come back up again. Both hands are up overhead, and then we'll bring them back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. We reach the mat, and then hands come to our shins. Half forward fold, nice flat back. Then crown of our head releases and goes down toward the mat. And while we're down here, we're going to do a few squats. So we're going to bring our hands to the mat and then bend our knees so that we come all the way up onto the balls of our feet and come into a squat position. And I'm going to bring our heels back down to the mat, straightening our legs, coming back to a forward fold. We'll do this a couple more times. So then bending your knees, coming up onto the balls of your feet. Knees come forward. And then bringing our heels back down to the mat, straightening our legs back to forward fold. And one last time, bending our knees, coming up onto the balls of our feet. Maybe release our hands from the floor for extra fun. Bringing our heels back down to the mat. Crown of our head reaching down toward the floor. Sweeping our hands with a big inhale, we're going to bring them all the way up overhead. Palms come together overhead, and then bringing the palms to the heart center. And then bringing our palms to the back of our hips. And we're going to have a stance where we're about hip width apart. Palms are on the back of our hip bones. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked toward your chest. And then just let the shoulders gently drop back, finding that sweet spot where your breath is nice and flowing. And then come back up to straight position, and we'll continue on. So in mountain pose, we sweep our hands up overhead, and then bringing both hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Hands are on the mat. We extend both feet to the back of the mat, coming into plank pose. So our wrists are right below our shoulders. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat, navel's tucked to the spine. Our hips are elevated slightly, so there's no saggy tummies. And then we're going to just take a few steps here, just like what we're walking on a path or walking up some stairs. We're going to bring the right knee forward and then send it back. Bring the left knee forward, send it back. Kind of a marching step, if you will. We'll do this for a few moments. And you can go at whatever pace is good for you. Maybe you like to jog, maybe you like to walk. Okay, and then come back to plank pose. And either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, coming down to the mat, keeping your elbows tucked to your side. Once you've landed, you send your fingertips to the front of the mat. So your shoulders, your elbows are right below your shoulders, coming into Sphinx position. So a Sphinx Your chest is open and forward. Tops of your feet are snug on the mat. We're pushing down. It's an active pose. And while we're here, there was a website called Gratitude the Life blog that had 110 affirmations for the law of attraction. So I Googled in law of attraction, came up with this site, and they had 110 affirmations for the law of attraction pertaining to money, to love, to success, to gratitude. So I picked two. I'll do one now. It says, I am worthy of love, abundance, success, happiness, and fulfillment. I am worthy of love, abundance, success, happiness, and fulfillment. So then we'll take our hands and place them right under our shoulders, face pointing down, and then lifting our hands off the mat, lifting with our chin and our chest, come into baby cobra. And then bringing our hands back down to the mat, and gently lifting with our chin and chest, then pushing down in our hands, coming up into regular cobra. And then keep pushing with our hands, come up to tabletop, and then to extended child's pose. So bring the hips down to the ankles with your arms extended out in front of you. And then come back up to tabletop. And I forgot a pose, so we're gonna kind of stick that in. So bringing your elbows right where your hands are in tabletop. Actually, this is probably a good way of doing it as opposed to the other. So then we're gonna tuck our toes under, so we try to reach the balls of our feet, and then lift our knees off. We're gonna come into dolphin pose. So dolphin pose is an alternative to plank, where you're not putting the effort on your wrist, you're more on your elbows. Same elements apply, where your navel's tucked to your spine, lifting your hips, heels are pushing to the back of the mat. And then bringing your knees back down to the mat and coming back to tabletop. And we're gonna go into downward dog from here. So tucking your toes under again, lifting your hips up to the sky. And we'll pedal out here for a few moments. Hands, have your fingers spread apart, index finger pointing to the top of the mat. Arms are nice and straight. Chest is reaching toward your thigh, elevating your hips up. And your knees are bent. And pedaling if you'd like. And then we're gonna stop pedaling and then just shift our weight forward. So we come from a downward dog into a plank position, upward plank, and then back to downward dog again, and pedal out. And then stop pedaling, and then shifting our weight forward, coming into plank. And then back again to downward dog, and pedal out. And then we're going to bring our right knee to our left elbow. So inhale, lift the right knee, bring it to the right elbow, and then back again to downward dog, pedal out. And then lift the right knee, bring it to the right elbow, and then back again to downward dog, pedal out. And then we're gonna bring the right foot between the hands, coming into a runner's lunge. So lift your knee, send it between your hands, coming into runner's lunge. And plant the left hand down on the mat and sweep your right hand all the way up to the sky. Following your fingers with your eyes if that's comfortable. And then bring our right hand back down. And we're going to take we're in a runner's lunge, and we're going to take our back foot and come about halfway toward our front foot. And we're going to come into pyramid pose. So the back foot about halfway from the runner's lunge to our front foot. Then we're going to reach our chin or head toward our right knee, coming into pyramid pose. And then we'll send that back foot back into runner's lunge. And then we're going to bring it forward into forward fold. So we'll push down to our front foot, lifting our left foot, coming into forward fold. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Arms come together. Arms come to heart center. Great, we'll do that on the other side. So sweeping our hands all the way up. Big inhale. Exhale. Hands come down to the mat. We'll send both feet back for plank pose. Again, get your alignment so that your wrists are right below your shoulders. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat, navel's tucked to the spine. And we'll do a few steps here, either walking or jogging, picking up the pace. And then we'll stop jogging and we'll lower down to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping our elbows tucked to the sides. Sliding our hands forward to the front of the mat, come into Sphinx. Our chest is nice and open. Tops of our feet are snug in the mat. And I have another law of attraction affirmation for you. And it is, I attract what is meant for me. I attract what is meant for me. And I'll do the sequence in the right order now. So we're in Sphinx pose, and you'll probably say the other way was easier, but we're going to bring our knees, or come to our knees, keeping our elbows where they are. And once we're on our knees, we're going to flip our toes so that we're on the balls of our feet and lift our knees up, coming into dolphin pose. Try to remember there's an actress who's in her later years, much later years, and she said she does this dolphin pose every day. I can't remember who that is. And then bring your knees back down to the mat. And bring your hips down toward your ankles, coming into extended child's pose. Letting your hands extend out in front of you. And then we'll come back up to tabletop, tuck our toes under, come into downward dog, and pedal out here for a little bit. And then we'll stop pedaling and shift our weight forward, coming into plank. And then shift back again to downward dog and pedal again. And then stop pedaling, shift our weight forward, coming into plank. And then back to downward dog. And then we're going to lift our left knee, send it to our left elbow, and then back to downward dog. And pedal out for a moment. And lift the left knee back up, bring it to the left elbow, and then back again to downward dog, pedal out. And then we're going to lift our left foot and bring it between our hands to runner's lunge. So lift your left knee and foot, bring it up between the hands, coming into runner's lunge. And then planting our right hand down on the mat, sweeping the left hand all the way up to the sky. And then bringing that left hand back down, back to runner's lunge. And then we're going to take our right foot and cover half the distance between where it is now and our front foot. So just kind of bring that up about halfway and come into pyramid pose. We'll just kind of guide our head toward our left knee. And then sending our right foot back to runner's lunge again. And then we'll come into a forward fold, pushing down to our left foot, lifting our right foot, bringing it to join the left foot, sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together, and palms come to heart center. Well done. We'll bring our toes out to the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in, 45 degrees. Palms come to heart center. And we'll just lower our torso down toward the mat, coming between the knees. Elbows are tucked on the inner part of our knees. Wide-legged squat. And then we'll bring our sit bones down to the mat. Come into staff pose. So staff pose, our legs are nice and straight, toes pointing, flexed and pointing up to the sky. You're gonna make a little fist, push down, feel nice and snug in that. And then we're gonna do a few half boats. So with your hands tucked behind your knees, lifting your shins so they're parallel to the mat. We're going to tap one foot down, bring it back up. Tap the other foot down, bring it back up. And then tap both feet down, bring it back up. Your back should be nice and straight. You can kind of use your arms to create that nice straight spine in your back. So again, tap your toes down. One toe goes down, back up. Other toe goes down, back up. And both toes go down and back up. So you can do that with your hands tucked underneath, or if you like, you can release your hands, tap one toe down, then the other, and then both. And then you can alternate between having your hands under your knee, one foot down, other foot down, both toes down, and releasing your hands. and maybe keeping your hands released. We'll just do a few of these. And then we're gonna roll down on our backs. Give our knees a nice hug. Maybe rock the lower back. Give it a nice massage. And then we'll do a few rowboats since we're out boating, half boats and rowboats. So bringing your hands to the tops of your knees. You're gonna push your knees away from you, extending your arms fully. And then sending your knees to both sides, bringing the soles of your feet together. And then guiding your knees back toward your shoulders. And then closing your knees over your chest. We'll do that a couple times. Extending your arms fully out, pushing your knees away from you, sending the knees out to the sides, soles of your feet come together, guiding your knees back toward your shoulders, and then closing your knees over your chest. Nice hug. And then we'll do it one more time. Extend your knees out and away, opening your knees to each side, soles of your feet come together, guiding your knees back toward your shoulders, and then closing your knees over your chest, giving a nice hug. And then lastly, we'll bring our arms out to each side, shoulder height. And then on the exhale, drop our knees over to the right. And once your knees have landed, slowly send your gaze over to the left fingertips. And then slowly bring your head back to center. Inhale, lift your legs back to center. Exhale, letting your legs drop to the left side. And then slowly turn your head to your right fingertips. And slowly turning your head back to center, lifting your legs back to center, and then sending your feet down to the bottom of the mat, preparing for Shavasana. Sending your feet out to the corners of the mat, and letting them just flop open. Your arms are out from the sides with the palms facing up, just so you can feel your shoulder blades get nice and snug in the mat. And taking a deep inhale, and then exhaling through your mouth, just releasing everything into the mat. Letting the nourishment of today's practice soak deep within you. And for today's closing, we talked about the law of attraction, and I think of it as like a big inhale, bringing good into your life. And this reading is called The Ripple Effect by Madison Taylor. And it's like a big exhale, sending good out into the world. So again, it's The Ripple Effect by Madison Taylor. Each of us carries within us the capacity to change the world in small ways for better or worse. Everything we do and think affects the people in our lives, and their reactions in turn affect others. As the effect of a seemingly insignificant word passes from person to person, its impact grows and can become a source of great joy, inspiration, anxiety, or pain. Your thoughts and actions are like stones dropped into still waters, causing ripples to spread and expand as they move outward. The impact you have on the world is greater than you could ever imagine, and the choices you make can have far-reaching consequences. You can use the ripple effect to make a positive difference and spread waves of kindness that will wash over the world.